Okay, let's jump right into it. Okay, so grab your guitar and some coffee or whatever you got there, and we're going to start with our review. So the very first thing I like to talk about with guitar is the parts of the guitar. Because, you know, it's really important to know in case something goes wrong, you got to take it to the shop. You have to say, hey, my headstock's broken, or the nut is broken, or my bridge needs to be lowered, or something's wrong. Okay, so this is really helpful. Okay, so the first thing is the review. This is our headstock, this whole part, headstock. These are the tuning pegs. This is the nut right here, this white bar. And these blocks are the frets. Some people say this is the fret. I like to think of the fret as the block there. And then these are the fret markings right here. And then the neck, and the fingerboard, and obviously the strings, really easy. Then we have the sound hole down here, and then the pick guard. You probably have a black pick guard on yours. Mine's like a see-through pick guard, clear pick guard. And then this is the soundboard, and this is where the sound comes from on the guitar, this piece of wood vibrating, resonating. Then we got the bridge, the saddle, and the body. This is the body. Then we have the shoulder, waist, and hip. Okay, so that's the parts of the guitar. And then I talked about the finger numbers. So this is finger number 1, finger number 2, finger number 3, and finger number 4. So you have to know those parts of the numbers of your fingers. And then we talked about the string numbers. Your bottom string there, your smallest string is string number 1. Then go up from there. String number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so string numbers. And then we have the note names of the strings. And this is really important. You have to memorize this. And we have a mnemonic device to help us. Hope you can hear me there. Okay, good. We're working? Hey, Tracy, good to see you. Good to see you guys. Okay, good. All right. Awesome. Man, this is fun. So much fun. Okay, so our mnemonic device is, I say, every apple does get bruised easily. Okay, so the string, that's the first letter is the string name, note name. So every apple does get bruised easily. So it'd be E for every, A for apple, D for does, G for gets, B for bruised, and E for easily. Okay, so memorize that so you can know the string note names. And then the next thing we looked at was we got that. We got our first chord we looked at, and that's in an earlier video. So we're going to pull this up, slide up here. So this is our first chord we looked at. This is our A major chord, and that's a chord box. It's as if you're looking at the guitar neck just like this, straight on. There's the nut right there, and that's the nut, that top black part. And then we have the frets going down. So the 1 is your first finger, and that's you put that on. That's on the 3rd string from the bottom. And then the 2 is your second finger. The 2 means your second finger. 3 means your 3rd finger. So I'm putting those into place there, just like that. So that's our A chord. And make sure your thumb is back, and you have a space between the neck and your palm, so you're not touching the neck with your palm like that. And then that's your A chord. Then I ask you to go through and play each note of the chord. So don't really do the top E, just start on the A string. Okay, that's your A major chord. Then we looked at, from our last video, we looked at our D chord. So that 1 is your first finger. 1 means first finger. So that's again on the G string, or the 3rd string. Then 2 on the high E string, and then and that's all on the 2nd fret. 3rd fret is your 3rd finger. Right there, just like the picture. Go through and play each string, but start on the A string. Make sure your thumb is back. You want to get a clean sound on each note, okay? And make sure you have that space there as well. And then we looked at, I'm just doing a quick review here. Oh, nope. Shoot, I blew it. Okay, then we have our E chord. And then that's first finger is on the 3rd string again, in the 1st fret, and then 2nd finger A string, 3rd finger D string. Go through, this is a nice chord, play every note, every string. Nice big full sound on that one. Okay, so then the next thing we talked about is my little lift, slide, jump method of changing chords. So you got your A chord, your D chord, and your E chord. We want to find an easy way to change between these chords. And I devised a little method, but it's probably already been invented. But I like to think I invented it. So you take your A chord, and this first finger is your pivot finger, okay? So that's your anchor finger. That's gonna stay locked on the second fret right there. Don't lift that finger off at all. You're just gonna lift these other fingers and drop down to your D chord, just like that, okay? So it's a lift and a pivot to your D chord. And that finger is staying right there, your anchor. Leave it there, don't move it. And that's anchoring to get to the D chord. And then when you want to get back, you just pivot back to the A chord, okay? And then when you want to get to your E chord, you lift, slide that finger back. So that's your guide finger, slide it back to the first fret, and then jump to your E chord. See that? So nice, easy movements. Pivot, slide back, jump. So lift, slide back, jump to your E chord. I don't want to teach this all over again because I did it in the last lesson, okay? So just review that if you want. And that's the big value right there to get moving, changing chords. Okay, this lesson is all about your first song, so let's get to it. And here we go. Your first song is Hey Jude. You guessed it, I gave it away earlier. It's Hey Jude by the Beatles or Paul McCartney. I'd like to give a little history here. It was written by Paul McCartney, released as a single in 1968. It spent 9 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. And Paul McCartney wrote it in an attempt to comfort John Lennon's son, Julian, after Lennon left his wife for Yoko Ono. And then written as a positive outlook on a sad situation. McCartney still performs the song live ever since Lennon's death. He performs it live to this day in concerts. And it has that massive ending. Na, 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 na. Okay. All right. So if you're on the internet and you're looking to play a song, you probably are searching, doing searches, and you're going to come across something that looks like this. Okay. And you're like, oh man, what is going on here? I got words, I got lyrics, and I got letters on top. And how do I strum the song? First of all, what's the strumming pattern? What am I going to do? I'm not going to bother guitars too hard. No, don't do that. I'm going to help you, okay? So the first thing you want to look for is you want to know the time signature of a song, okay? And that's going to help you get a sense of get a grid for the song. So it's going to look, if we want to build a blueprint of the song, it's going to look like this, okay? It's going to have our time signature out here. So we know that the song is in 4/4 time. So that's 4/4 on the top left-hand side there. The top 4 tells us there's 4 beats per bar. So a song is divided up into bars, and this song has 4 beats per bar. So most rock songs that you hear are all in 4/4 mainly. Most music is in 4/4. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the count of the song. And that's the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're just going to do down strums on the beat. Okay, so you have the chords on top. You have A, E, and D written on top. You have the lyrics underneath, and those down strums. And the down strums are the most important because that's the beat. And you're keeping time. Someone told me that guitar is like a rhythm instrument. It's like a drum. You're keeping time for the song. So our strums are just keeping time. Okay, pretty simple. You probably know this already. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to play our chords, and we're going to do our lift drop down method that I taught you in the last video. And we're just going to do down strums. And notice that the down strums are all on the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. Okay, so let's try it. So grab your guitar, play that A chord if you can. Do the best you can. Maybe I'll play it through first. Okay, so let me get my note here. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. There. And that's the timing and the feel. So you have to complete each one of those beats in the bar, or it won't work out mathematically or rhythmically, like it won't make sense. Okay, so that's why I show you this picture to see what the bars and the beats look like. But our goal is to like internalize this and memorize it and kind of get the feel for it, so that we don't have to look at a grid like this all the time. Just know that know the time signature of the song, and I mean the key or the chords, and you'll be good. Okay, so time signature, most important for reading charts. Okay, so grab a guitar, let's try it together. And remember, actually, let me explain it first. Okay, here we go. One more time. I'm going to explain it through. So I got my A chord, and I'm going to go, so 4 beats. So 1, hey Jude, don't make it. And I'm going to lift, slide back to my E chord, and jump to E. Bad. Stay on E. Take a sad song and make it. Now lift, slide forward to get to A. Better. Remember, keep your thumb back. I'm not like up, I'm not like this. I got my thumb back and I got my palm down. And then D's coming up. You want to look ahead. 3, drop. Okay, then keep your pivot finger there. Drop down to D. Remember to let her into your. Now lift, pivot back to A. Heart. Then you can start. Lift, slide back to E. Start to make it. Lift, slide forward to A. Okay? So you're going to be slow at this at first. It's going to be frustrating. You're going to want to give up, but don't give up, okay? It's going to take a couple of weeks just to get moving quickly. And if you play this 100 times, I guarantee you'll be flying, okay? So that was a kind of a breakdown, a slow breakdown for you. Yeah, okay? So let's play through it nice and slow together this time, okay? And you can always go back and rewatch the video. Okay, here we go. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart, and you can start to make it better. Good. I'll do it one more time and just count it this time, okay? So it's going to, if you counted it, it would sound like this. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. So you can even go through and follow the bar and just like watch as I go through. I'm playing each one of those down strums. Super important just to get that beat, because you want that to be the backbone of the situation and the groove of the song. Okay. And that's how you figure out the strum pattern. You're just basically playing the beat. And then you want to spice things up a bit. It's a little boring. So we want to add extra down strums to sound more like rock and roll. So we're going to play some extra down strums on the ands. Okay, so now instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to go 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So the rhythm would be, or beat would be 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so let's just play an A chord and just strum that rhythm. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay. We're spicing it up. We're making it a little more interesting. And McCartney's going to be taking us on tour in no time. Okay, ready? So let's try it with that extra down strum. So, hey Jude, and 3, and 4. Actually, let's just count it. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. can just go through and do that a bunch of times to get comfortable. And you'll eventually just internalize the feeling of that, and then it'll just come natural eventually. So you don't have to like memorize it. It'll just feel natural. And you want to play by feel. You don't want to think about what you're doing. Okay, so now let's add the lyrics. Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to write her into your heart. You can stop to make it better. All right, got that? So we spiced it up with adding some extra down strums on the ands. Okay, now to make it even a little more interesting, we're going to add a new chord to the situation. This is an E7 chord, okay? So instead of playing E, normal E, we're going to lift our middle finger off. No, we're going to lift our third finger off, and that's going to create an E7 chord. Okay, so it's going to sound, there's E, lift our third finger off, there's E7. So you see, you can hear that cool sound. That's kind of like a Beatles sound there. So it's only a 2-finger chord now. Okay, and it's going to make it interesting. So it's an E7. We're going to add that into the mix. So you got lots to think about. You got lyrics, you got chord changes, you got a beat, and now we're adding an E7. Okay, so yeah, actually, you're thinking about the chord changes, you're thinking about the beat or the rhythm, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you want to be able to fit the singing over top of that, and then we're adding E7. So let's give it a shot, okay? So, ready? So, hey Jude, don't make it bad. Here's our E7. Sad song and make it better. Remember to enter into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. All right. So that's your homework for next week. I want you to be able to play Hey Jude, just with the 1, 2, 3, 4 beats per bar. Then do the ands, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then add that E7 in there. Okay? All right, great, awesome. You did it, your first song. How does it feel? Okay, so that's what you're gonna practice for homework. And you can go back and review the video. If you're looking for a more in-depth version of this, I have a little course available. You can check it out on the links below.